Good day guys, today we have lab number 1 of lesson number 9, using a generic method and for each loop to work with arrays. What we are going to do, we have to create a class named myFuncs and a generic function printr, which outputs an array of any type and any length to the console window. Use for each loop to iterate over the elements of an array. Call the method twice, the first one for an array of integer type and the second for an array of double type. And we have an example of our results. We are going to have this in our console window when we will run our project. This we are going to have. So we have here how to do. If you are going to do it yourself, you have to read all of these items and to do it one by one, step by step. First, second, and so on, one by one till the end. But if you are going to watch this video, you can do it with me. We are going to do it ourselves. So let's look at the example. We have this line. We have to output it into the console window to print it out. Then we have some array printed out. And the first one, it will be integer array, and the second one, it will be double array. So we have to print it out also. So we are going to do it twice, the first with integer array and the second with double array. And what we are going to do else, we have a class, we have to create it, and we have to name it myFuncs. And within the class, we have to create the printr function. We have to call it printr, and it will be generic function. So if you remember, generic function is the function that can use the parameters of any type, the function of any type, the method of any type, and it can return the values of any type. So let's do this project one by one, step by step. So we have opened Visual Studio as always, and we have to create console application, and we need to put this name as the name of our project and as the name of our solution. Click OK, and we have to rename our program CS file as we have it here in our task. Rename it and paste it here. Yes, we have as always here the code by default and the main function, our main function which will be executed first of all. So let's do this program starting with the creating of our function. We have to create our method, our class. We have to create new class. This class we have by default, and when and we are going to create a new class. So let's place it here just before the class by default. We have to use the keyword public, because we need to do this class accessible from within any classes and namespaces. So public, then we have the keyword static, and it will be a class, and we have to put here an identifier of our class. We have to call it myFuncs with capital letter, myFuncs. Classes are usually called with identifiers starting with capital letters. Then we have a block of our code. It is the body of our class. Within this class we are going to create a method called printr. Printr, so it is a print array. Print array. It will be generic function. So let's do it here. We have to use again public keyword because we are going to have this to do this method accessible from within any classes. So public, then we put the word static, keyword static, and I'll tell you later why do we need this keyword here. Our method will return nothing. Look here, what we are going to do, we are going to print out some array, to print out. So this method is going to print out some array, and it will not return some value. It's just for printing out some array. So if we don't need to print to return some value to the program, we put the keyword void. Then the identifier of our method, print air. It will be generic method, so we need to put here t in these brackets. So it means that it will be generic method. Then in the rounded brackets we need to put our parameters. Look here, what we are going to pass to this method. We are going to pass here our array to print it out within this method. So we are going to pass here array, it is a parameter, and it has to be t again because we have generic function, generic method, and array can be of any type. It can be double type, float type, or integer type. So we need to put t here. And before we will use the keyword this. This means that we extend this type by this method. We extend this type by this method. Then we have curly brackets, and it will be the body of our printr method. And of course we have to call our parameter. Let's call it error. It will be parameter of any type, and keyword this means that we extend this type by this method. So we have error, it is an array, so we need to print it out, to iterate over all its elements and to print them out. So it is an array, so we need to use some loop. We can use for loop, and we can use for each loop. It is usually better to use for each loop. It is usually used to iterate over the elements of an array of any length. For loop, we need to know how many elements will be. And for each loop, we don't need to know how many elements will be. So let's use this for each loop. For each. Then we have in curly braces, we have the variable to iterate over the elements. The variable need to be var here, not int, not double, not float, but var. Var is a type of the variable x, but it means not exactly a particular type. It means any type that will be assigned to x. Any type that will be assigned to x. So x will assign the elements of the array in R. The name of our array is R. So x will assign the value of each the element of array through this iteration. So we need to print out all of the x's, all x. So let's use console right line, CV, double tap, and let's do it beautifully. And look here, we are going to output them within one line. We don't need to print out each the elements on each line. No, we are going to put them within one line. So we are going to have right here, not right line. Then we will put x, and to put here space. There will be the space between each of our x's, of our elements. Okay, and that's all. We have this method which will print out the elements of an array of any length. We don't need to know how many elements there will be, and we are due to using this Foreach method. Okay, let's return to our main method. This main method, within this main method, we are going to create the elements of our array. We are going to declare array, to assign the values for this array, and to call this method to print out the elements of the created array. So first we are going to do, we have to create a new array. So let's create it. It's single dimensional array. So we need to put first we are going to print out integer array. So look here, it will be integer array, and then it will be double array. So we have to declare two arrays. The first one will be for integer values, and the second will be for double values. So let's create the first integer array. So we need to put that it will be integer array, and double square braces means that it will be array. Then we need to call our array. Let's call it R1 because we have two of them. The first will be 1. 1 equals to new int again. New means that we create, we have to allocate a memory for this array. So we need to put keyword new to allocate the memory. Again, we have to say that it will be array of integer type, and then in curly braces we can assign the values for our array. Let's do it like in our example, just the same, and to use comma to separate the elements, and of course semicolon after our operator. So we have created the first array. Now we can call this method to print out the elements of this array. But first let's do it beautifully. So let's copy this line to print out this line first, and then to print out the elements. Console right line, and this text all. something not exactly what I wanted. Okay, and now we can call our printr method to print our array. So look here, we have the word static here, keyword static, when we declare, when we have a signature of our printr method. So it means that we can access that method directly by the printr method. So we don't need to create an object to access this static member. So we can do like this. We can use dot notation. So we have array and we are going to print it out. We have array dot, and we can call this method like printr, just calling it by its name, printr. It will be the first integer array. We can run our program to see the output of the first example, first part of our example, this one, yes, for integer array. So we can run it, Control F5, or we can use Control Shift B, as I remember, just to debug. Control Shift B. It is debugging. And then Control F5. Control F5. Okay, we have an integer array, and the outputting of these elements, its elements, yes. So it is correct. And now we are going to have the same for double array. So we don't need integer, we are going to have double array. So let's put here double, then square braces to say that it will be an array, single array. Let's call it R2 because we have R1 for integer array, R2 we are going to have for double array. And again, the keyword new to allocate the memory for this object, for this array. Again, double array, and in curly brackets let's use this. Let's take it here from our example, put it here, and just commas between them and semicolon after. Then we have to print out this message. So let's copy it, CV double tap, and in quotes we have this message. And again we have to use dot notation. We can use this dot notation due to this static keyword. So R2, and we have it print here, print R, and don't forget to use just empty curly braces. We can call this method not using this dot notation, but it is better to use this. But just for you to know that we can do it not this way. We can do it as we did it previously in previous labs, in previous lessons. We can do by passing this array as a parameter. So we can put printr, the name of our method, printr, and within these rounded braces we need to pass this R2 parameter. Oh. And it doesn't know it. It doesn't know it because we have here another class. We have to use my funcs and only then to put it here. Let's create this. Yes, and now it is okay. So it is another method. We don't need to do it, but we can do it like this. So we have the double array and one more array. It is correct, but it is better to use this dot notation. We just comment it, and we will use this dot notation. And we don't need to put any myfuncs class. Yes, like here. We don't need it using dot notation and use it static here. So it will be the same, but you saw that it is not good that the double array is inside the same line as we have here printed out our array. So we need to put another line, CV, just empty line, and it will be beautiful now. Yes, the integer array, the double array, and we have the elements of our arrays, of our two arrays. So that's all. We have done this lab, and I wish you to do it also without any errors. So see you later and goodbye.